Yes, you are listening to the Ready, Set, Retire radio podcast with Steve Anzoni. My name is Jessica Forkel. Get more details on the website at fairwayfinancial.net. We saw lots of market volatility here earlier in the week. A lot of folks, that R word keeps coming up, the recession. So, of course, I want to tune into our friends here at ABC, Alexis Christoforous. She is weighing in on some other experts out there on their opinion if a recession is coming. Listen to this.
They're now weighing in with their odds for a recession, and they are going up. JP Morgan Chase now puts the odds of a recession this year at 40%, up from 30%. I spoke with Mark Zandi. He's the chief economist over at Moody's. He said at the beginning of the year, he had a 15% chance of odds of a recession this year. It's now 35% if Trump implements these tariffs and leaves them in place for the next few months. Remember, the consumer has been the pillar of this economy, continuing to spend despite it all, high inflation, higher interest rates. If that starts to pull back and the job market starts to weaken, and some economists are saying because of Trump's policies on deportation and the government layoffs, we could see a big pullback in the job market, and that's when the economy may pull back enough to dip us into a recession.
All right, so she says a lot there, Steve. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you off the leash. Go ahead. What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm certainly not an economist by any stretch of the imagination, but this was coming. This was in the works, and I was just, as you were listening, I went back and I looked at the Dow, right? So at the end of 2023, the Dow was at 37,006. Today, it's at 41, 42, somewhere in that range. I mean, that's a big leap, and that's what people need to understand. I mean, this thing has climbed unbelievably in the last few years. And so whenever that happens, there's got to be a little pullback, a little rest. And complacency is where most people find themselves because it's the easiest thing to do. And we as a country can't stay complacent because our national debt is embarrassing. I mean, in the trillions, 36 trillion, depending on the chart you look at for the day, it's mind-numbing. And something has to be done about it. And I would think that the majority of folks out there would agree that there's probably a lot of wasteful spending going on with the government. And that's old news. But if someone is attacking it as aggressively as this administration is, that's going to cause waves. And that's kind of what's going on. I mean, they really took the bull by the horns. And I don't think anybody anticipated this much so soon. And even the market's like, whoa, what's going on here? And of course, tariffs have been in the news and been a big part of the news. And again, I try to look at this unemotionally, Jess. You know what I mean? Like, you can't get all uptight and flip out about it because, first off, there's nothing that we can do as an individual except to understand that the goal here is to protect our money as best as we can. Look at the time horizon that you have. Make adjustments accordingly. Never panic sell. Never do anything emotionally when it comes to your money. It has to be logical. And that's where I come into play, Jess. I've been doing this for over 35 years. You don't think I've seen this before? This is nothing new. I mean, you go back to '08. It was a nightmare. You go back to 2000. It was a nightmare. And we've come out of it in the long run. Now, yes, there was a lot of pain from 2000 to 2009. The S&P only averaged about 3 or 4% a year. Not that impressive, but we came out of it. And that's the key, is to understand what your options are. And unfortunately, there are a lot of options out there that aren't discussed as much as others. And I tend to be more focused on the income part of all this game, Jess. And I tend to speak to my clients about, hey, what is the number one goal here? What are you trying to do? And most people say to me, well, I want some income, Steve. I want some income for life. And so that's what we do here at Fairway Financial, is to look at a person's portfolio, see where they're at, and ask them, what is your goal here? Okay, never mind what's going on in the world. What is the ultimate goal here? Would giving you more guaranteed income, would that make you feel better about your situation going forward in retirement. And if someone answers yes to that, then I immediately start talking about those types of plans because that's what they're looking to do. And so when you give us a call or when you come in and visit with us, the first meeting is going to always be about you and what it is that you're trying to do, whatever money you have, whatever it is. We're going to try to help you and work with that and make it do for you what it is you want. In other words, match your goal with the money and not just throw it in the pile and do what everyone else is doing, okay? But focus it more on you. So when you give us a call at 508-552-3230, what you're going to see is a different approach. You're going to see someone who has years and years of experience who will speak with you logically about what's going on and help you in an unemotional way handle your situation. Like I talked about earlier with that gentleman who wanted to meet with me, his goals were very clear. Wasn't that complicated. Steve, I want an income in 7 years for my wife and I want the money to be safe, but I want to be able to have an opportunity for it to grow too. So we paired him with a plan that offered exactly that. Okay, so that's what we try to do here.
Now, it is the number one question everyone is always asking. Oh my gosh, where's the money tree? What can I do? And oh, by the way, my number one fear when it comes to planning for retirement is not running out of money. Well, according to a new study by Schwab, this is where most retirees get their income from. Stick with me here. Here's the list. Number one, 40% from their 401k, 20% Social Security, 15% savings and investments, a little 11% here, pensions, 4% part-time work. This is kind of sad. 3% annuities and insurance, and then 3% real estate. So that's 7 different places where people are getting their income. Steve, I want to know from you, is it common, and are there any other ideas here you would add to the list?
Well, I'm a little surprised by this list, having been in business for 37 years. The 401k doesn't shock me. But 20% from Social Security, I would have thought that more people in this country get Social Security. So I thought it would be closer to 40% or 30% 401k, 30% Social Security, and then the list breaks down. But it's interesting, but those are the sources for sure. They hit the sources right on the number. Part-time work is really becoming more and more popular these days, so I think that number is going to increase in the future. Pensions are certainly going to decrease in the future because less and less people have them. Real estate is common. If you own real estate and you rent it, that's a good source of income. Annuities, insurance are definitely going to increase because people are wanting more security with their income and their cash flow. I haven't met anybody in 37 years who had said to me, Steve, I don't want any security in my retirement income. I just want to wing it. I haven't met anybody yet, but you never know. But I think they hit the 7 pieces. But that brings up a really interesting point. It's all about not having all your eggs in one basket. We talk about that a lot. And I wrote a book on that called Tee Up Your Retirement that talks about having pieces to build a great income stream in the future. And by the way, if anybody would like a copy of that, feel free to give us a call here at 508-552-3230. And hey, let's try to break the record that we set last week with all the calls we got in. So let's go for that. But yeah, I'll be happy to give you a copy of that book. But it makes sense that 401ks are a big piece because, hey, let's face it, it's the easiest way to save for retirement. You work for an employer, they have a plan, and you say, hey, take so much of my check and put it in there. My concern is that people don't pay enough attention to it or that they don't match their goals with what the 401k does because obviously, most 401ks have multiple options that you can get involved with. So I would encourage people to get a little bit more involved with what their options are and try to make that plan work for them as best you can. Social Security is what it is. It's a very interesting program because we pay into it our whole lives and we get taxed on it our whole lives, although... Hey,
maybe
listen,
not anymore. There might be some changes, yeah.
The current administration is trying to eliminate Social Security taxes, which in my opinion should never been levied on us in the first place. We've already paid taxes on this money, folks. We all know this, but it got levied on us in the 80s and then again in the 90s. So it needs to be eliminated. It's awful. And the last administration got rid of the WEP, which is wonderful. So that teachers and workers in states who have contributed to Social Security can get all that income now instead of having it reduced because they had other benefits. So that was a really good move. So we're heading in the right direction there. And, annuities and insurance, and I kind of smile at that because an annuity is an insurance product, but there are other types of insurance products, believe it or not, that can provide cash flow. And one of them is life insurance. Now, I know what you're thinking, hey, life insurance, when I die, such and such gets money. Well, that's not the only use for it. There are other uses for it where you can build cash. It's a very misunderstood type of product, but it's out there. And by the way, it's all tax-free income, Jess, so that's not a horrible thing.
Yeah, it's huge.
So what wasn't on the list, I guess, because it was generalized, was Roths, right? But I guess a 401k, you can have a Roth 401k too. But the list is great. And it just shows that you need to diversify a little bit to create cash flows and different incomes. I love it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, obviously, yeah, there is importance into diversifying, right? You don't want to, just same with investing, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket. When it comes to creating income, it's kind of like you want a buffet of options, right? So the 401k, Social Security, if you're lucky enough to have a pension, that's great. Really low on the list there, something that we talk about all the time is annuities. And I wanted to dive a little bit more into that because we talk all the time how annuities are severely misunderstood. And the demand for annuities has soared over the last few years thanks to higher interest rates. And that's good news for those who bought variable annuities before 2021, right? They're keeping up with inflation. But
yes,
for those who bought a fixed annuity at a lower rate, they are not getting those benefits. So I want to know from you, is there a way to kind of upgrade your annuity for a new one?
Yeah, that's a great point. So an annuity is basically the insurance industry's answer to bank CDs and money markets because they're, for the most part, the fixed annuities and index annuities are safe, principal protected and all. Like if you bought a CD 4 years ago or so, you remember getting 1.5% and feeling fortunate about it. And of course, you don't want that today because rates have gone up. And so annuities also have a feature where, let's say you bought an annuity 3 or 4 years ago and your fixed account was 2.5%. Well, obviously today the rates are higher. So the government allows somebody to swap out an older annuity for a newer one at a higher interest rate without any taxes on the transfer. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of the few things that you can do like that you don't have to pay the taxes on. It's deferred. So an annuity by nature, Jess, is tax sheltered. So if someone has extra money and they're just trying to get a safe return on it, it helps them because let's say you have 100,000 and you're going to, your old rate was 2.5, the new rate's 5, then that 5%, so that 5,000 you earned that year, if you don't need it, you don't have to report it. So you don't get a 1099 for it if you leave it in there. So for somebody who's just looking to park money somewhere for a while, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is, it's a beautiful way to save in a very tax efficient manner. And we've done a lot of, we call it refinancing.
I like that.
Like a mortgage, right? So if your mortgage rate was, 8, and the new rates were 5.5, you would obviously refinance that mortgage to save yourself a bunch of interest, right? And the big craze, of course, was right after, COVID there where rates really were low. And I locked in at 2.25, Jess.
Woo, good for you, buddy.
I am never paying that loan off, ever. It'll retire when it retires in 10 years. But I'm not going to pay that off with money that's earning more than that, right? So I would never do that. But it's hard to find those rates. But still, rates have come down a little bit, which is helpful. And if you find yourself at a 7.5, 8, and you can get a 6 or 5.5, then it makes sense. Same with annuities or same with anything, right? If you're stuck at 2.5 and you want to get 5, hey, give us a call. I'd love to help you with that. And you could do it tax-free exchange. It's actually in the Internal Revenue Code. It's called a 1035 tax-free exchange. So it's right there in writing. If you have some of these older annuities or you're not sure how your annuity works, give us a call at 508-552-3230. We'd love to take a look at it, explain how it works, the features, the benefits of what you currently have, and any benefits you might enjoy if you do decide to refinance it, if you will.
Get more details on the website, fairwayfinancial.net. That's fairwayfinancial.net.
Steve Anzoni is a licensed insurance provider by the Division of Insurance and is not registered as an investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve Anzoni, Massachusetts Insurance License 3851053. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties. Steve Anzoni is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Steve Anzoni is licensed in your state, please call 508-398-3337.